Sorry, everyone. I've been out there surviving, okay? Fending for my fucking life. Excuse the AK-47. Had to defend myself. Sorry, YouTube probably gonna kick me off for that. So maybe if I get kicked off, then I gotta redo this. But fuck it. For now, it is Thursday, February 18th. It is 12:07 p.m. I have power. That's how I'm recording this. And we're going to get the fuck into what just went on the past few days. Texas has fallen. It has crumbled. It has fallen apart. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. So let's rewind it. Yes, my nails are painted black. Am I gay? No, I'm not fucking gay. Okay? Anyone that knows me knows I love pussy, bro. I'm all about pussy, dude. Anyone knows me? Me gay? No way, dude. You guys gotta believe me. I love pussy. I've always loved pussy. Like, there's nothing more I like than a nice muffin down in the The nails, I'll get to that. I'm not gay. Where do I begin? I have my notes. Let me see. I have notes here. Oh, fuck. I have notes. I started at Friday, February 12th. It was a normal Friday. Me and my friends were going out. We go to this nice bar called Little Woodrose. Good little place, good vibes, good times. Got an outside, it's got an inside. It was a weird though because it was cold. Now, it gets cold here in Texas. It can get cold at night, sometimes like 20, 30 degrees, especially. It's the middle of February. I almost said it's the middle of December. That's how warped my sense of time is. It's middle of February. It might still get a little chilly. Like, we still have winter, right? That's a thing. We couldn't really sit outside and smoke our cigs. It was too cold. We were out there and then right back in. Just, normal night though. We got fucked up. We went back to our friend's place. I threatened to fuck her dog, like normal things. Like, if there's a girl dog, I'm going to make some dumb jokes. It's what I do. Shout out Daisy. That's a good dog. She's a good girl. It was chilly. There was no sign of danger. Like, everything was okay, right? Saturday, I had made it home Friday night. I didn't get that fucked up. Saturday, I slept, woke up. What did I do Saturday? Saturday, I think I woke up. I have went to the gym. I may have hit the sauna and sweat out from the night before. And Saturday night, I'm going to Austin to hang out with my friends. And my friends in Austin text me and they're like, hey, like, hopefully you can still make it out here. It's pretty icy. It's getting kind of bad out. Like, it's supposed to rain. And I'm like, I'm from fucking Chicago. Like, I've lived in Chicago for a year. I grew up in Illinois for all 23 years of my life. Like, I know the snow. I know the sleet. I know the ice. It hadn't even snowed at this point. I was like, this is no big deal. Like, to me, I'm going to be there. So Saturday night, I drove all the way up to Austin. It was fine. Austin, we were there. We went out to the bars. Tried to go to this EDM bar that we had went to, I think, literally just the previous week. But we got there, and then the guy was like, oh, all the tables upstairs are sold out. You can't get in. Like, no one's coming in. Like, everything's bought out. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like, whatever. We'll go. So, yeah, I went across the street to the alley to take a piss. And this is the cool thing about Austin is, like, when you're out there, you don't need a plan. You just kind of go and move around and find things. That was how we found the EDM bar the week before. So I'm in the alley taking a piss, and then I just look up and I hear music at like a rooftop, and I'm like, hold on. So I go running back across the street. My friends are still in line, and I'm like, hey, like, let's go check out this place over here. Another thing about Austin, I realized there's like no police presence anywhere. It's totally just a fucking free-for-all when it comes to drugs, alcohol, anything going on in the streets. It doesn't matter. Like, I can't tell you the amount of people that I just see like openly having vials and just railing cocaine in front of the bouncers, like before getting into a club. Like, it's all over. Cocaine, ecstasy, it doesn't matter. Like, you could do whatever and you don't have to hide it. Like, no one cares. So we go to this place. I think it was called Speakeasy. And like, I thought it was because we went into the alley and there was a door that said Speakeasy, private entrance, go to the front. And I'm like, is this like, excuse me, one of those things where like you need to know the secret, like the secret knock to get in, right? It wasn't. We just went around to the front. Now, this is where it was almost a problem because we get to the front and it's just a bunch of like frat dudes in like sport coats, and one fucking frat idiot's like getting kicked out. And it's probably a finance bro, just like wasting his fucking night away, looking like just an idiot. Like, I think he had Sperry's on too. Like, of course, why wouldn't he? Just totally fit your demographic of Sperry sport coat getting kicked out of a bar. Not even before midnight. It's like 10:30, 11. Like, you fucking piece of shit. But he's getting kicked out and we're like, oh shit, like this is probably going to be bad, but we'll go in and check it out. It's the fanciest set of doors like you could possibly go through. It's like a nice ass hotel entrance. And we're like, oh, this might not be like what we're looking for. And then we get into the bar and it's like a punk rock show. And it's like a punk rock cover band. And we're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, this is perfect. So we're going crazy at that. But then I was like, I still think there's a rooftop. Like, we should go check that out, right? So we found the staircase. We went all the way up on the roof. And then it was like a DJ playing EDM type music mixed with like rap, you know, like all the big hits going on right now, like that type of music. So like the club was up top, the live band was downstairs. And it was sick because like it's cold. So they have those plastic sheets all around like where the balcony windows would be. So you could still see out onto the city skyline, but it's warm. And then they have like all these outdoor chairs and shit. And I remember I was just like, if I'm at a bar, I need to stand on something. Like I need to get on top of something that resembles a stage and I need to perform. That is my only goal when I'm out, is to perform and to entertain. And if I don't do that, then it's a failed night. So there's all these lawn chairs and stools and all this bullshit. I immediately fly up on it. And then I get all my friends up on there with me. And we the DJ was in the center in this big booth. And then there was like a whole group of like, you could tell it was like almost like a frat formal maybe or some shit like that. And they're all like in front of the DJ doing their thing. We're behind the DJ booth, standing on all the chairs, putting on our own show, doing our own thing. And slowly throughout the night, I could see people like staring and looking. And then they're slowly migrating over because they're like, oh, like these people are doing it. Like these people are the show. This is the entertainment over here. And I'm like, yeah, come. Welcome to the Matthew Garrett show. Tune the fuck in because it's about to go off. And so if you've been out with me before, you know what I do. I'm going nuts. I'm having a blast. All my friends are going crazy. And we stayed there until the bar closed. And then we walked all the way home. And that's the nice part about Austin is it's kind of like Chicago in the sense that you walk everywhere. You don't have to Uber, or they have like electric bikes and scooters and everywhere, but not everybody wanted to get a scooter. And it was fucking cold too. I don't know how we walked that, but we walked all the way back to my friend's place. And then once we got there, they don't have anyone that lives below them. And one of them had a skateboard. So immediately, like I hop on the skateboard in the living room and we're all like trying to do tricks like in the living room, which was funny. And then I ran down to my car and I grabbed my other two boards and we like skated in the parking garage. And I know I was fucked up because like it was 25 degrees and I was just in a t-shirt skating around the parking garage for like 30 minutes. So I was just fucking hammered, passed out there. Woke up Sunday the 14th, Valentine's Day. This is where things are there's a problem. The danger is here, but I didn't realize the level of danger it was. I woke up Sunday morning and I'm like, all right, like I'm just going to head out. Like I'm going to go back home because like they had shit going on. And I'm like, yeah, like the night's done. The weekend's over. Like I'm going to go just fucking hibernate until tomorrow and work. So I get into my car and I pull out of the parking garage in Austin. And now keep in mind, there's no snow. There was maybe like a light specks here and there on the grass, but I fucking like turned out of the garage and immediately my car just sideways down the first turn. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is all ice. Everything's ice. And now let me get into this. To everyone that has messaged me and thought, took the time out of their day, including my mother. I'll get into that too. I'll get into that one later. But like everyone was like, oh, Matt, it's just a little bit of ice, dude. It's just ice. I'm going to say you're fucking retards. Okay. I'll say the R word. That's fine. Idiots. Let me explain why. It's not just I know ice. I have 23 years in Illinois. I can drive. I know ice. That's fine. Snow is fine. You want to know why it's fine? Because you have salt on the fucking roads at home. You have plow trucks that are out there salting everything so no one's slipping. Texas doesn't have salt. They don't have salt. They don't have firewood. They don't have plow trucks. It's not built for it, right? And especially the roads aren't built for it. So immediately I'm spinning out. And then I get on the highway and I'm going. And that drive from Austin to my place is usually, it's about a 70-mile drive. It takes like an hour, 15 minutes. It's like comparable to the drive I would make to ISU when I was back home. Like from Minooka to Bloomington was like an hour, 15 minutes, whatever. It took me 3, almost 4 hours to get home because everyone, like I had to go like 25 because if I went over 25, my car immediately would fishtail because the whole road is just a sheet of ice, like everywhere. And I saw like there was cars slammed into the walls left and right, into the ditch. And at one point, my phone is my car. Let me go like this. I'm getting on. And then on the on-ramp over here, there's a dude pulling a truck behind him, and he's a truck. He's coming on. I'm watching him from my car as I'm going. He starts spinning in a 360 with the truck connected to his hitch, and they're coming over in front of me. And at the very last second, he hits some grass and slows down. I literally thought, I was like, this is it. I was like, I'm going to this guy's going to fly the fuck into me. I'm done. I'm not making it home. I slammed on my brakes and I'm just sliding. There's no stopping. And I'm just like, I'm like, all right. I'm like, this is cool. This is great. Like, I'm going to this is it. He stopped. I didn't hit him. And then I continued to go. And the whole like 3-4 hour ride home, people are just spinning out. I keep losing traction left and right, but I've at least I'm used to losing traction. Like I can handle that. But, then I get closer to San Antonio and I realize like they're shutting down all the exits and entrances to the highway, except like certain ones. So like you can't even get off where you'd normally get off. And when I got to San Antonio, I went to go get sushi. Yeah, I stopped and I got sushi. So that added like an extra hour because I just sat there and ate for a little bit. Ate alone on Valentine's Day. Do your thing. Support yourself, okay? Don't just go eat. Go eat alone. It's okay. No one's going to fucking look at you because you know what? No one cares about you. So just go out and do shit on your own. It's okay. You'll be all right. So I ate sushi and then I finally made it all the way home. And then I was just like talking to Alex. I was like, yeah, dude, like this is fucked. I was like, it's ice everywhere. He's like, yeah, it's bad. And then Sunday night progressed and I was like, it had to be probably 10:30. My friend Ashley texted me and she's like, oh, it's snowing out. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, it's probably a little bit of fucking snow. Like I looked out my balcony and it was just a couple specks. And then like she texted me again, like an hour later. She's like, no, really, dude, like there's snow out here. And then I looked outside and I had put my first Snapchat of like, there was snow on the ground, like an inch or two. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like to me, this is fine. But like, oh God, excuse me. Like all my other friends, like everyone was freaking the fuck out. And like everyone I know here in Texas was just losing their minds. And they're like, what is going on? Like all this snow, like I'm not gonna be able to drive. And I was like, yeah, like whatever. I did what people have been saying to me. I'm like, yeah, we're fine. Like don't even fucking worry about it. It's just a little bit of snow. Who the fuck cares? Right? Like it's not a big deal. It's survivable. Like you just drive and then it'll be melted by tomorrow. So I go to bed that night. And I woke up at 4 a.m. because I wake up multiple times a night. I've never slept through a full night. Wake up at 4 a.m. and I realize I'm like, it's fucking cold in here. And then I look over at my computer and I realize like my computer's not lit up because there's a light inside my computer that like changes colors while the computer's still off. Like it's like running LEDs all the time. And I'm like, oh. And then I try to turn my TV on and my TV's not turning on. And then I realize I don't hear like the heat. And I'm like, I think the power's out. So Alex was at Lauren's, his girlfriend, and I call Alex at like 4 a.m. I didn't give a fuck. I just call him. I'm like, is your guys' power out? And he's like, no, we're fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, ours is out. And he's like, yeah, no, ours is fine. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm going to go back to bed. Like, I'll talk to you in the morning. And then like I texted my mom at like 4 a.m. I was like, oh, damn, like the snow knocked our power out. And she was at work, so she texted me back. But then it came back on. And I was like, oh, okay, we're good. It came back on like 30 minutes after I woke up. I went back to sleep and then I woke up again and it was off again. But then it was in this cycle of where the power would turn on for for less than 5 minutes. There was no more than 5 minutes. Like you would hear all the beeps, like there's still beeps going on in the kitchen. And like you would hear the air or the heat kick on and the power would come on for like 5 minutes and then it would all just black out again. And it would come on for 5 minutes, go out for an hour or more. Come on for 5 minutes, go out for an hour or more. And it's getting increasingly colder in here. And yes, this was Monday. And so like we didn't have internet. I work from home, right? So like I was trying to work that day. Thank God I didn't have like that many meetings, and like the work I could do offline without Wi-Fi, and then I could just call into them like through just like cell phone service. But like even the cell phone service was knocked out, and like you couldn't make calls because like towers were down, and then you couldn't really make text unless you had Wi-Fi. And so Alex and I immediately go to HEB, and then we get to an HEB at like 11:45. HEB is like Jewel for you Northerners. I say that like I've been a Southerner, but we get there and we're like, okay, let's get like some firewood if we can, because Alex had these logs from a couple weeks ago that would burn for like hours on end, and they were great, but we used them leisurely. We used them for funsies, like not for survival. So we blew through these logs that would have like saved us in retrospect. We get to HEB and everyone's congregated outside. Like you can tell, like there's snow. People. This was the best part. One of the funniest things, like when we're driving around, like Alex has a front wheel drive car, so we were able to just plow through the snow that was out there. And like the roads are just caked Monday morning. Like there's snow compacted on there and there's ice under the snow. And then there's no plows, there's no salt, as I said. So there's no way to remove this snow. It's just there. And everyone's outside, like walking, like looking around, and like they're looking at the ground. Everyone's wide eyed, and like dogs are like, what the fuck's going on? Like I'm sure cattle, I would love to see a cow that like experienced snow for the first time this past week. Like what the fuck are they thinking? And so we go all the way to this HEB. I don't know why we went to the one we went to, but Alex was driving, so that was his decision making, not mine. We go all the way over there, and everyone's like congregating outside and waiting. And then I'm like, what's going on? Like, and then everyone starts walking away. And then I like roll down the window. I'm like, excuse me, sir. I'm like, what's going on? Like, are they not opening? And he just looked at me pissed. He's like, they're not fucking opening. He's like, the only two that are opening are the one on Wurzbach and 1604. And we're like, when? And he's like, they open right now, 12. And it's like, we're like, oh, fuck. So we go racing over to the Wurzbach one, which is actually the closest one to our apartment. So I don't know why we didn't go to that one first. But we go all the way over there and it's open. And like, this was the moment. Well, no, the first moment was like when the power was out. But this was the moment where it was like you're looking around. And I'm sure this is how people felt like at the beginning of the pandemic when everyone raided the stores. But it was like people are running around. Like people are sprinting around the store and they're just grabbing everything they can. And like you got things that like milk is limited to 1 per customer. Water is limited to 1 per customer. Eggs are limited. And they're making these announcements and people are scrambling. And like, I'm like, dude, we can't get food because we don't have fucking power. Like we can't cook it. Right. So I walked out of there with a kombucha, a bag of white cheddar, puffy Cheetos, protein bars, and then thankfully they had like pre-made wraps and sandwiches. And I got like a buffalo chicken wrap, and I was like, this is probably just gonna last the day. Like I'll just get this and I'll just, eat like a little bird throughout the day and I'll be fine. Bad decision. So we get that, we come back to the apartment, power's still off. We're pissed off. We're sitting there. It would come back on. We'd try and put something on and it wouldn't work. And then Lauren comes over and they were going to run to HEB again. And I was just kind of sitting there and like, I don't like the third wheel and like, they don't, I'm not going to impose myself into whatever they're doing. But I was just like, it was getting like really cold and I'm just like sitting in the apartment and like, they're getting ready to go. And I'm like, could I come with you guys? Like, do I have to stay here alone? And they're like, yeah, like you can come with. So I go with them to HEB again. And, we tried to go to one HEB that was pretty far away and it was closed. And then we ended up going to Target. And then at Target, I got, excuse me. I haven't really slept for 4 days. At Target, I got just I found a frozen pizza that was still there. And Target was just fucking ransacked, dude. Like it was ran down. And I get that. And then we go to Lauren's and we spent the rest of the day at Lauren's. Oh, and we got a fucking 24 pack of Corona Seltzer. And we just started drinking a little bit and we're watching shows because Lauren's got power. So it was fine. I slept on her couch. And then Tuesday I woke up and our house still didn't have power. There was like an outage map you could check. And I'm like, okay, like I have to take the day off work because I have meetings all day and like I'm not going to be able to call into them. I was like, so I had to take PTO, had to blow 8 hours, whatever. So I took the day off. And then we went back to our place and I grabbed my shit and I kind of changed some clothes and I grabbed my boots, I grabbed a jacket, I got a hoodie, I got some extra clothes, I got my laptops, my chargers, my phone chargers. And luckily my friend Ashley had power. So our whole friend group, like everyone went to her house. There's like 6 to 7 of us. And we all went out and got food together. And then like we went back to her house and we all cooked the food and like made dinner and shit. And then we all just proceeded to get blacked out Tuesday night. Cause we're like, we got power, we have heat. Let's just drink and just like all hang out for the night. And then that was when I got my nails painted black that night. We thought that'd be funny. So I was hanging out there, had a great night. Let me see. Tuesday. Yeah. We went to Ashley's, got supplies. Like I said, I got my notes, got fucked up. Had a lot of fun, and then we all just like passed out. And then I woke up Wednesday. My power's still out at my place, but thankfully they have Wi-Fi there, so I could stay there and I work there throughout the day. And I was able to do my meetings, get caught up on my work, do all my shit. And we're still just like powerless. And this is at the point yesterday where I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm like, dude, this is fucking nuts. Like I can't go home. Like I could, but like I can't stay at my own home. Like I haven't slept in this fucking bed for 4 days. I've been couch surfing. I'm like this fucking nomad wasteland survivor out here doing my thing, trying to stay alive. And it's just like, it's fine. It's whatever, but it gets annoying when like you can't go home to your own shit and you can't be in your own space and you have to just like, I'm not good at asking for things. I don't ever want to ask for something and I don't want anything to be like given to me. So when like Lauren like allowed me to come over and spend the night there, I like felt like I feel bad. And I'm like I shouldn't have to, realistically I shouldn't feel bad because it's like obviously the conditions we're in. Like I feel bad like having to be a nuisance like that. And like even going over to my friends, like I feel bad and I'm like, sorry, like what can I do? Can I do the dishes? Can I do something to like even the score here? You know what I mean? Like I always feel like I don't want to, like I feel like I have to owe them something just for them being like good humans, right? So I was able to work there, and then I start getting texts from my friends in Austin, like because they finally got service again, and I'm like, what's going on up there? And they were like, we had to completely vacate our apartment, like all the power's off. One of our friends has power. We went there, and then they're like, our one friend who lives up north, like they have like their pipes burst and now there's like an inch or two of water and they're trying to keep their dogs off the floor and keep them on the couch. And like they're huddled on the couch in the cold. And I'm like, and they're still frozen. And at this point yesterday, the snow had melted because like the sun was out. So all the snow went away and it was fine. Well, it wasn't fine because the power wasn't fucking on, but it was better and you could drive around and you could do what you had to do. Right. And then, yeah, so my friends in Austin are still fucked. I have to check in with them again today and see if they've gotten any better yet. But then yesterday I went home and Alex had said like Tuesday night, he could tell when he came to check on the apartment Tuesday night that there was a stench coming from the fridge. So we have to wipe the whole fucking fridge out, right? So we come to the fridge. Wednesday I texted him like, hey, I'm like, let's go to the apartment and let's clean this shit up. And then, we can go our separate ways and keep doing our thing. And then we get to the apartment and I walk in, the power's on. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I look at the clocks because the clocks on the microwave and the oven, whenever they reset, they start fresh at 12 a.m., right? So the clock was at like 3 or 4. I think it was 4. So that meant like the power's been on for 4 hours, right? So I'm like, oh shit, I think we're finally stable again. So I left. And then I found a gym that was open. Shout out Anytime Fitness, 24 hours a day. As long as there's power, you could get in, baby. There doesn't have to be a worker there. So I went to the gym for the first time in a few days because I am on a cut. I don't know if I haven't talked about that because I haven't podcasted. I'm on a cut. I'm doing my thing. I'm a pound away. The last time I checked, I haven't been able to check because I've been on the run for 4 days. So tomorrow, if I can sleep here tonight, I will see. Hopefully I finally broke down into the 170s. I'm so fucking close. I haven't been in the 170s since what was the year David and I went to Alpha League? 2015 or 16? So that'll be fucking sick. I'm cutting just because I want to be fucking lean. I got places to go this year. I got people to see. I got shit to do. And I'm going to be fucking lean while I do it. And even yesterday, I was in the gym. I'm seeing new veins pop out. And I'm like, I look so fucking good. I'm not fat. I won't ever be fat. If I ever get fat, break my kneecaps and shoot me in the fucking head. Because if I ever get obese and fat, that's how you know I'm not me anymore and I lost touch with reality. So take me out. Because if I fucking give up on this, that's all done for me. Just off me. Put me out of my fucking misery. Don't ever be fucking fat. That was my side note about my cut. So I'm cutting hard, cutting good, cutting clean. It's nice tracking macros again. It's like a fun little eating disorder. Like tracking macros is a controlled eating disorder. And it's like each day you do your little weigh-ins and you're like, oh, I lost more weight. I lost more weight. This is nice. And that feel good thing in your brain just kind of keeps going up and you're like, yeah. And then the one day you wake up like a pound heavier than the day before and you're like, I'm not eating today. But it's balanced. You have to do it. I mean, if you want to be skinny and you want to live the skinny like lifestyle, these are the sacrifices you must have to make. I don't make the rules. So yeah, we went to the gym yesterday and then I come back, power's still on. Alex is gaming. He's like, let's game. And I'm like, man, I haven't showered since Sunday. I'm like, so let me get a shower in because I guess I could have showered at someone's house, but I just didn't. So I was wearing the same underwear, socks, and clothes for like 3-4 fucking days. I was really just embracing the life of like, I'm going to survive and I'm going to play the role of survivor because I was. And so I finally shower. I showered for like an hour. It felt so fucking good. And then I get out and I'm like, I don't have any food and I'm starving. And all I've eaten today was like a little bit of chorizo and eggs that I had in the morning. Shout out to my friends for making that. And so I'm like, HEB's got a long ass line. I saw it. The other HEB's got a long ass line. And I'm like, Trader Joe's though. Let me call them. I called them and they're like, we're open for another 30 minutes. We don't have a long line. I go all the way to Trader Joe's. There's a line out the fucking door. I'm not going to make it in. So I'm like, all right, let me go check Target. I go to fucking Target, dude. Target's wiped the fuck out. Like, I've never seen it so barren. The only thing, this is how I knew, right, that it was fucked up, was that all the gluten-free pizzas were gone. Nobody buys those unless it's an emergency. I managed to snag one more of those gluten-free pizzas that was left in there. And then, of course, all the vegetables and frozen fruit are there because San Antonio is fat. Most people in Texas are fat. You know, no one's going to be healthy and get frozen fruit and vegetables. So I lucked out there and I got a bag of frozen fruit. And I'm like, fuck yes, I can go home. I can make my normal smoothie. I make a smoothie every day. As I get out of my car and park, I get a text from Alex and he's like, power just went out. And I'm like, really? I'm like, no, it didn't. And I'm like, he's fucking with me. I come walking in. I open up, dead silence in here. And I'm like, yep, power's gone. Alex had just put a load of laundry in. And the laundry was like sitting in the water, in a full thing of water. And he tried to take it out. And then he couldn't even get it out because the thing was locked and the power's off. So then I'm like, all right. The only wood we were able to get when we first went to HEB was these little things called grilling logs. Grilling logs last like 30 fucking minutes. But we got the grilling logs and I'm like, all right, let's try to blow through like 2 bags of these for an hour and we'll wait and see if it comes back on or not. And then we sat there. This was like 5 or 6. Sat there for about an hour, maybe a little over an hour, just sitting in the dark. I put up a story of us just sitting there with our little pitiful fucking fire. And it never came back on. And then we just dumped water on the fire and we're like, all right, time to go back over to friends' houses and fucking figure it out for another night. So then we set off and we went back off into the darkness. What was fucking crazy though, because I leave the apartment and like usually the streets all lit up on where we live. All the lights are off. The stoplights are out. All the street lights up by like the nice buildings and shit are all off. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this is like apocalyptic. Like it feels so creepy and weird and just kind of fucky. And then I went over to my friends last night, shout out to them. And then I was able to, spend the night there again. And then I could wake up and I was able to work. And then Alex texted me at 7 this morning, the 18th. And he's like, hey, power's on. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm like, well, I got meetings until lunchtime. So let me wait a bit. And then I look out the window and it's just fucking coming down with snow. And I'm like, oh God, not again. Like my car was honestly covered in like 1 to 2 inches of fucking snow. And thank God I still had a brush and I was able to brush it all off and I cleaned my car. And it took me like 15 minutes or so to get home, but like all the roads are covered. Nobody's out and I'm in like a rear wheel drive car. And honestly, I was having a fucking blast. That was a fun drive home to get here just now. But I got home, came in, power was on, came in here, everything turned on. And what was the first thing on my mind? I'm like, let me make my smoothie, which I did, and it was delicious. And I'm like, let me fucking record this podcast because that's what I realized for this is like, I need an event to happen and then I can come talk about it for a bit. Like it's already been 30 minutes to catch you guys up on 4 days. And it's just been a hell of a 4 days. And that's my favorite thing is I've just been going fucking crazy on Snapchat and I've been having a blast with that. And a lot of you, to the people who have reached out, thank you. I appreciate that. That was nice to reach out and ask if I'm doing okay. I would probably send an ominous response and say I'm surviving. I'm all right. But yeah, it's been pretty fucking crazy, man. Like I've never been through something like this. Oh, and this was funny as fuck. Like, so my mom, like, like I'm like texting my mom and I'm like, Mom, like I don't have power. Like I don't have heat. I don't have electric. Like I can't like do anything. And then my mom's like, oh yeah, I had to drive through a blizzard to get to work today. And I'm like, Mom, I don't have fucking heat. I had to abandon my home. And my mom's like, well, I had to drive to work in the snow. And I'm like, Mom, like, she's psychotic. She is psychotic. And like, she just doesn't love my mother to death, but like she lives in her own reality and so do I. So it makes sense. It's all right. I understand. But, just to like, that just reiterates that it's like everything is a competition when something like this goes on. And a lot of you have shown that when you're like, well, we have a foot of snow. We have a foot of snow. I'm like, yeah, but you got a fucking heater, you idiot. It's not 30 fucking degrees in your apartment. You fucking dumbass. You can actually sleep in your own bed tonight, you bitch. So that's been annoying. It's like, yeah, that's the thing is it doesn't even matter. Even if it didn't fucking snow and it was just 18 degrees, it's still 18 degrees with no water heat or electricity. It's an uninhabitable home. So it's like, it's not the snow. Like the snow is what caused it. Yeah. But after the fact that the snow comes down, the snow is no longer the problem. It's the temperature. And it's just the trying to survive and get around and do your thing. Right. And that is the biggest thing I would like to iterate out to everybody. And it's just like, I have lucked out here. Like knock on wood. Like I have lucked out so far because the pipes could have burst in here and I could be standing in like 1 to 2 inches of water right now. Like my friends in Austin, or like I've seen videos in Dallas where water is just gushing off balconies because all the pipes are bursting. Because I didn't know this. I don't fucking know about homes and houses, but like the insulation we have in pipes at home, it's not the same here because it's hot. Like it's not a place that usually would get weather like this. So none of the homes are like cold proof like ours at home. So it's like, it's different and you don't realize it until you're in it. Like I'm sure if I was back in the North, I'd be like, these people are fucking pussies, bro. Like they got 2 inches. I got 2 inches of snow. I don't care. Because usually I wouldn't fucking care. I've been through it. Everything's fun until you wake up in the pitch fucking black and it's cold. Then it sets in. Reality hits. Will I have power tonight? I don't know. I would love to sleep in my own bed tonight and not go sleep on a couch again. The hope is that I can fucking turn around right here and I can crawl into this bed. I didn't even make it because I wanted to show you guys the illusion of chaos. Also, I am someone that I sleep in just my underwear, if that. Sometimes even those aren't on. On Tuesday, when I took a nap, was it Tuesday? Yeah, I think I took a nap here on Tuesday or no. Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday morning, I came here. I took a nap from like 9 to 12. And I had to wear a hoodie, a beanie, sweatpants, 2 pairs of fucking socks on, mind you, 2 blankets, and I wrapped up and I just passed out for like 2 hours because it's like that fucking cold in the apartment. And on top of it, that fucking door right there, I can see the light poking out the top of it. You can't see it. It's up here. You can't see it. But there's a hole in the door, and that's why my room, I figured out the other day, that's why my room is always warm when it's hot and it's always freezing when it's cold. So I need to fucking plug that up because fuck the balcony. The balcony turned against me. But yeah, that's the status of things. I've been wanting to get that out. I've tried to convey all that through Snapchat, but I think it's nice to sit down and dump this. I've had a lot on my mind. I've wanted to talk about it. So yeah. So it's been a little bit of hell down here. And now what will complete this story arc that will just be the ultimate start to finish is if on Monday we couldn't even sit in a home, and by tomorrow night, if I'm blacked out in a bar, that will just be the funniest fucking week of turn of events. And I hope I can provide that on Snapchat tomorrow night. That is my goal. I've heard there was a bar open the other night, of course. Oh, that was a funny thing too, is like everybody online is like, I was like, whoa, down in Texas, you guys didn't take COVID serious, so now the fucking snow will teach you your lesson. Yeah, COVID wasn't cold. I could still go to the bar and black out with my friends. I could still go to the gym and work out. I could still sleep in my own bed with COVID going on. I could do all that. That's fine. The cold's worse, okay? Don't fucking compare the two, okay? Just because down here they don't believe in science that much doesn't mean anything. Let them frolic around. Let people get it. I haven't been able to smell since November. It's okay. You adapt, just like this week. Adapt. You just got to keep going. Keep rolling with it. See what happens. It's fun. I will say these past 4 days have sucked, but at the same time, it's been a fucking blast, which is weird to say. Because it's just like, I was thinking about this. It's kind of like each day it's like a problem of like, where am I going to sleep? How am I going to work? How am I going to eat? And I like to solve problems, right? That's my one thing. That's where I get autistic and I go deep into that. And I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? Where can I go? And it's sucked, but it's been just like awesome, like in a weird way, as awful as that is to say. Cause it's just like, it's just another fucking life experience. And it just gave me this crazy story of like 4 days that I can always talk about now. And I can always just talk shit about living through this. And it's just like, that's just fucking life, dude. Shit just happens and you just got to keep going. But we're coming up here on 40 minutes. I don't really know what else to say. I got these fucking, I do got these little guys on. I needed to take them off, I think. I'm kind of done with them. But they are fun. They looked good in my story when I was doing it. And I did one little picture of my fucking arm and all my veins were fucking popping out. And I'm like, yeah, look at me. Look at me, motherfucker. Oh, yeah. But yeah, other than that, other than surviving the cold apocalypse, nothing really new. Just doing my thing, going to the gym, cutting, dieting down. I'm going to try and figure out a gym that's open today. I'm going to go after work if the snow... Let me check the snow. Let's see. That snow's coming down. There's like 2-3 inches out there right now, which doesn't make any sense. So hopefully the power holds. I'll be very upset if it doesn't, because then I gotta venture out again. And really, I just want to play some fucking games, and I just want to eat my own food, and I just want to do my thing. But I can't even go get groceries, because like I could go get groceries and then the power could go out, and then I just waste all that money on food again. And like no restaurants are open. There's only gas stations. So I don't know. But yeah, if there's one thing I could say to wrap it up, it's just imagine being me. Imagine being Matthew fucking Garrett.